when Adidas offered me a position, I had to tell Nike. They both gave me contracts and I had to decide what I wanted to do.
Yeah, you guys might want to have a seat for this one. Lottie is a holistic nutrition coach for some of the best Olympic athletes around the world. She worked with Tour de France winner Team Sky. She ran multiple triathlons and was on the cover of Triathelete Magazine. She formed partnerships with brands including Equinox, Whole Foods, and Proctor and Gamble. I'm not done. You ready for this one? Adidas created a position for her that never existed before. She is now the North America nutrition coach for Adidas, and she's the only one. They fly her out around the world. She's done panels in Austria and workshops in Istanbul, Turkey, and I can go on, but I'm gonna let her take it from here.
My freshman year of high school was pretty rough. I was starting the year off and holidays were starting, and I found a bump on my neck, and between doctor's appointments, we found out I had stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma. And it was a really critical time in your life because high school is when you just want to fit in. You just want to like cruise through. You don't want to like be that person or that girl. And then I had this happen to me. So I was really devastated. But I think looking back, and people told me while it was happening to me, like, this is going to be the best thing that ever happened to you. It's going to change your life. And I was like, I'm in 9th grade and I'm going to Sloan Kettering every day and I'm not going to school. This isn't the best thing that ever happened to me. And obviously looking back, it was pretty profound in my life and it changed me for the better. And then my senior year of high school is when I started to like grow into myself a bit more, and a bunch of people were going to Disney World to do a half marathon for SBH, and I was like, this is a great opportunity. I could give back to the cancer center, who was actually founded shortly after I was sick, and like, this is a great way to give back, and I will do something for myself and like all these things. And I remember doing that race and just like feeling in control of my life for once, and like feeling so great, so confident, so powerful. I found my space.
This was the first time you were running, right?
Yeah, I never ran before, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this half marathon. And then after that, I was like, I love this. And I went to go on to do the New Jersey half marathon. Then I was winning my age group, and I was like, there's something here. And having gone through cancer and radiation, I was like, I have a choice in what I'm putting in my body right now. And I grew up in the kitchen. It was very natural for me to look at food when I started to run. I was like, okay, I'm running, but what should I be eating? And I felt very empowered by the choices that I can make when it came to food, because now I have a choice of what I could put in my body, as opposed to when I was in 9th grade and I didn't have a choice and I had to have chemo and I had to have radiation. And now I could be empowered by these choices by educating myself around what to eat that reduces inflammation, that is good for me, that has all these amazing benefits.
And now, when you were in high school, you were selling, like, right? You were selling food.
Yeah, so I forgot about that. Yeah, so I went to like a Hanukkah party and I brought these vegan carrot cake muffins, and then my cousin had them. She's like, all my friends would buy them. You should make these, you should sell them. And then I started to do that as like a side thing. But like word spread. I was doing this like in 2013, 2014, and I had a steady base of customers. It was a really great way for me to, you know, kickstart my business.
Okay, so now high school's over.
I went to FIT for marketing, and I just like didn't think about like, okay, high school's over, now I'm gonna stop this. It was just a continuation, and that's when I started my Instagram account, which I didn't think anything of again. I was like, gonna start this Instagram account because I love cooking and I want to share my recipes, but I also want to talk about sports nutrition. Like, no one's talking about this. It's so hard to find this information. So that's when I started that Instagram account, running on veggies, and it slowly started to build. And I was like, okay, this is happening. And then one person in particular started to follow me, Kara Goucher, who was like, my all-time role model.
Could you explain who Carrie Goucher is?
She is an all-time, like, American distance runner, Olympics, bronze medal, any marathon you turn on, she was running and she was competing. So I was pretty
What were
in
you
awe.
posting?
Recipes, like my own running, nothing like too crazy.
Like recipes for runners?
Recipes for runners. So what was great was that I was in school for marketing, and it really is so relevant to anything that you do. So they kept talking about target market, who's your target market? And I didn't just want to be another healthy food blogger. Like, I had an audience and I had people who had an appetite for something like this.
And there was nothing out there.
There was
like
nothing,
it.
no one was talking about it. Like, there were so many healthy food bloggers, but no one was talking about sports nutrition and making it accessible. I think a lot of the times you see sports nutrition and it's like you need ashwagandha and you need maca powder, and no one's making it accessible for people, and they're making it complicated, and it doesn't have to be like that. So that's where I really wanted to be a voice for young females, young people in general who were starting to get into sports. What happened in 2014 was I got an email from Carrie Goucher. And I remember where I was in the cafeteria in FIT.
Okay, so you get this email.
She got this email and she's like, "Hi, I've been following your Instagram. I really like you. You're gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm having a running retreat in Napa. Would you want to come and speak about nutrition?" I was like, first of all, you don't want me there. I'm 21. I don't have a degree in nutrition. I don't know what I'm doing. I just like to cook. So what happened was we got on the phone and I explained to her, I was like, "You sure?" Whatever. She was having all these people that were her like closest friends or her personal trainers, and then she was having me, who she never met before, come and speak. And I was 20 and I was going to speak at this running retreat with women double my age and women who are very successful at running. It was scary, but like I was standing on stage and everyone was listening to me and everyone wanted to hear what I had to say, and I was like, there's an audience for this. There's an appetite for this, people want to hear it. I went, I loved it, and then the following year she was having the retreat in Breckenridge, Colorado, and she lives in Boulder. She was like, "Come to Boulder and hang out, you'll love Boulder." So I went to Boulder for the week, and I was like, why don't I just cook? So I cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner while I was there, and a week passed, we went to the retreat, and her coaches came up to me, and it was Olympic year, and they're like, "If she has a chance of making the team, you need to stay and cook. We've never seen her perform like this, recover so quickly. Would you stay in Boulder?" And I had just graduated college, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do, but whatever I want to do, this is a stepping stone for me. And this is an opportunity, and it's scary, and I'm gonna have to like move away for a few months. I felt like this is what I want to do, and I knew it.
And throughout all this time, you're still running?
Yeah, still running. At that point, I had experienced a lot of injuries running, so I started to do triathlons, and that's when I started to swim and cycle while I was in Boulder, because there's a huge triathlon scene there. So that's when I started to like dabble in triathlon a bit. The Ironman was like an incredible experience. So I was diagnosed in October of 2008. 2008 I was diagnosed, and I did this Ironman 2018 October. And so having had cancer, it wasn't something I spoke about on my Instagram ever. No one knew about it. It wasn't who I was, and I was so nervous if I spoke about it that I was gonna be that girl and that's all I would be. But I realized, like, visibility, if someone doesn't see this, they're not gonna know that they could be okay. And I remember being 14 and not having anyone to look to say like, oh, they were like a teenager and they went through this and they're fine. So I quickly realized, like, I remember doing an interview about my life like maybe 5 years ago, and then the interview was done and I told her, I was like, you know, like, I didn't want to like say it, but I had cancer, and that was like a big reason why I started to run and a big reason why I started to eat healthy. And she was just like, "What are you scared of?" And I was like, I don't know why I'm so scared to talk about it. I'm like, fine, I'm healthy. Why am I so scared to talk about it? And I realized I need to talk about it not for me, but for other people who are going through something difficult and could see that that is not their whole life, but they could use it for fuel to be better and look at the positive of what could come from it. So I said, I need to talk about it, but how am I gonna talk about it? So I said, Ironman is something that is so crazy, something I never could even imagine doing. It's a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and a 26.2 mile run. I said, that is like, I've never done a marathon before, I've never rode 100 miles or swam that long, but that's something that I want to do to celebrate like my body and everything that it has gone through. So October 2018, 10 years from the week I was diagnosed, I did that Ironman, and I raised money for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and it was like pretty profound in my life because it was the first time I was talking about it publicly, and doing that race was like really emotional.
What were people saying like on your Instagram? Like the people that were following you for like
Yeah.
5 years and never knew.
Yeah, it was, what was really great was to see so many comments of like, my daughter has leukemia and now she has someone to look to, and I was like, oh my God,
Wow.
this is really great and this is special, because like there are people I don't even know reading my story and they could get inspired by it. So I had a lot of pressure to finish this Ironman, also because I knew I was going to be on the cover of Triathelete Magazine that January. So Triathelete Magazine reached out to me, and I thought they just wanted a story about me. I didn't know it was going to be a cover story, and they were like, we want you on the cover. And I spoke about the Ironman, but I hadn't done the Ironman yet when I did the
Right.
interview.
What if you didn't finish the race?
If I didn't finish that, like, there was no way
You
I
just
wasn't
weren't gonna
finishing
let
that
it
race.
happen. Let's go back to the business side.
Okay. After working with Kara, I got an email from Nike, this guy, Pat Jeffers. I was still in college at the time, so it must have been right after that first running retreat I did. He's like, hi, I'm Pat Jeffers from Nike Marketing. Like, really love what you do. Do you want to come into the office? Like, we could talk and stuff. And I was like, this is not Nike, and like, I'm not going into their office. Like,
You didn't believe that
I
Nike
didn't believe that Nike. I was just like, I don't have time for this. Like, I don't know, whatever. And he was like, oh, cool, I'll meet you in Brooklyn. I was like, you know, I should just like go to the Nike office. So I went to that interview thinking nothing of it. I was like, I'm not sure if this is what I want to do. And he was just like, we're looking at running in the future. We have running coaches, master trainers, and we see like you could be a nutrition coach. I was like, yeah, that's a cool idea. Like, let me know if there's opportunity to work together.
Right.
You know, the door's open. Like, I don't know if this is what I want to do, but like I've been doing it, and he followed like my career and working with professional athletes. So did some freelance for Nike, here and there, events, different things. They would always have these like cool events, and it was an Olympic year, so I was doing a lot of stuff. They had a lot of things going on. But in 2017, 2018, a lot of people that had worked with Nike had gone to Adidas because they were starting this thing called Adidas Runners. And Adidas Runners is built on this foundation of holistic running. So understanding the athlete and saying they don't just need a run coach, they need a run coach, a mindset coach, a strength coach, and a nutrition coach. And a lot of the people in the running scene knew what I did, and they introduced me to Andre Pinard, who was leading this initiative for Adidas, and I interviewed with him. And at the time I was like working with a lot of professional athletes. I was doing pretty well in New York. I had a lot of opportunities, and he interviewed me, and I was like, wow, this is exactly what I do for professional athletes. And now I get to bring this information and this knowledge to the person running next to me and give this to them.
What do you mean? Like, who
Like,
are you giving it to
this is
before?
everyday runners. These are people who just are part of like, just want to be better.
Right.
So it was cool to see the contrast of I'm working with people who want to shave off 2 minutes of their marathon time so they could qualify for the Olympics, and then the other person who wants to finish their first marathon. And we'll talk about nature. So it was a big contrast,
Right.
and it was really cool.
And you felt like you were able to work with everyone across the spectrum.
Yeah, I felt really confident, and I felt like experience in both fields allowed me to be dynamic and just more diverse in like the way that I worked.
You have Nike and Adidas fighting over you.
Who would have thought? What happened was Nike and Adidas both offered me contracts, but I was thinking big picture, and I saw an opportunity to work for Adidas long term and like obviously expand my role, which is what I'm doing now.
So up until the point, like right before Adidas, up until that point, you were doing like freelance consulting.
I had a lot of like athletes reaching out to me. I started to do health coaching where I would work with individuals and I would create a meal plan for them, and we would talk about like goals and stuff like that and healthy habits. I also got to work with a lot of professional athletes, Brianna and Ashton Eaton, Emma Coburn, and there were just a lot of people that I got to work with over the years between all of that.
Right.
Like traveling and working with Team Sky, cycling team who won the Tour de France, going out and doing training camps for them. So I was really like a yes person. I'm also writing a book with Penguin Random House. So I have a cookbook deal I wrote during Corona. So that's pretty special also. Back
to Adidas. You work with them today.
Yeah, so I've been working for Adidas since then. Now I work as the North American nutrition coach, so bi-coastally, so work in LA and New York.
Wait, the North American nutrition coach, there's only one?
There's only me, yeah.
You are the North American nutrition coach for Adidas.
Yes. Yeah, I pinch myself every time, like this is my dream job. This is like, it's pretty cool.
That's crazy. Besides the business end, it's like you're able to impact so many people.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I honestly, like if you know me from high school, like I never would have thought I would be that person. I was like not the leader ever.
Right.
So what's crazy is like the position I'm in now like didn't exist before I took it.
Adidas created this position for you.
This was all new.